The story of the two wives. In a quaint little town nestled between rolling hills and lush green fields, there lived a man named Rami. He was a carpenter by trade, known for his meticulous craftsmanship and quiet demeanor. Rami had lived a simple life, building furniture for the townsfolk and mending the occasional fence. But beneath his calm exterior lay a secret that only a few knew. He had two wives. This wasn't a tale of infidelity or deceit in the usual sense. Rami's marriages were lawful, as the customs of his community permitted polygamy. His wives, Mira and Layla, were two very different women. Mira was his first wife, a soft-spoken and nurturing soul, who had stood by his side for a decade. She was the mother of his 3 children and the heart of their home. Layla, on the other hand, was his second wife, whom he had married 2 years ago. She was vibrant, independent, and fiercely ambitious, qualities that had drawn Rami to her. Rami had believed that he could balance the affections and needs of both women, but the reality was far more complex. Though Mira and Layla treated each other with outward civility, a simmering tension lingered beneath the surface. Their differences often clashed, and Rami found himself playing the role of mediator more often than he liked. One autumn morning, as the golden leaves blanketed the cobblestone streets, Rami sat in his workshop, sanding the edges of a wooden chair. His mind was restless. Mira had been quiet and withdrawn lately, while Layla had grown increasingly vocal about wanting to expand her boutique business in the neighboring city. Both women's concerns weighed heavily on his shoulders, but he had no idea how to address them without causing further discord. That evening, he called for a family dinner, hoping to foster some unity. Mira prepared a hearty stew, while Layla brought her signature apple pie. The children, sensing the underlying tension, remained unusually quiet as the family gathered around the table. Rami cleared his throat, drawing everyone's attention. "I've been thinking," he began cautiously, "that we need to have an open discussion. I know things haven't been easy lately, and I want to find a way to make things better for all of us." Mira glanced at him, her eyes filled with a quiet sadness. "Rami, we've tried to make this work, but it's hard. There are days when I feel like I'm losing the home we built together." Layla's brow furrowed. "And what about me? Am I supposed to ignore my dreams and settle for less, just to keep the peace?" The conversation quickly escalated, with both women airing grievances that had been brewing for months. Rami's attempts to mediate fell on deaf ears as Mira and Layla's voices rose. Finally, Mira stood up, her hands trembling. "Rami," she said, her voice cracking, "you need to decide what kind of life you want. I can't keep living like this." With that, she left the table, leaving a heavy silence in her wake. Layla crossed her arms, her expression a mix of defiance and hurt. Rami sat back, running a hand through his hair. He realized that his attempt to bring them together had only driven them further apart. The days that followed were strained. Mira busied herself with the children and household chores, while Layla spent long hours at her boutique, avoiding conversations at home. Rami felt the weight of his choices pressing down on him, but he knew he couldn't ignore the situation any longer. One evening, he decided to speak to Mira first. He found her in the garden tending to her roses. The scent of blooming flowers filled the air as he approached her. "Mira?" he began gently. "I know I've let you down. You've given so much to this family, and I haven't been fair to you." She looked up at him, her eyes tired but kind. "Rami, I don't want you to choose between us. I just want to feel like I matter, like the life we built together still means something." Her words struck a chord in him. He realized that Mira wasn't asking for more attention or affection. She simply wanted to be acknowledged and valued. He promised her that he would make more time for their family and that her voice would always be heard. The next day, he visited Layla at her boutique. The shop was bustling with customers, but she stepped aside to speak with him when she saw his serious expression. "Layla," he said, "I admire your ambition and your drive. I don't want to hold you back from pursuing your dreams, but I also need you to understand that we're a family, and that means compromise." Layla's eyes softened as she listened. "Rami, I've never wanted to come between you and Mira, but sometimes I feel like I'm fighting for my place in your life." Rami nodded, realizing that Layla's confidence often masked her insecurities. He assured her that she was an integral part of his life and that he would support her business aspirations while ensuring that their family bond remained strong. In the weeks that followed, Rami worked tirelessly to bridge the gap between Mira and Layla. He divided his time more equitably, planned family outings that included everyone, and encouraged open communication. It wasn't easy, and there were still moments of tension, but slowly the walls began to come down. One crisp winter morning, as snowflakes danced in the air, the family gathered to decorate their home for the holidays. Mira and Layla worked side by side, hanging ornaments on the tree, while the children strung lights around the room. Rami watched them, a sense of hope warming his heart. Though their journey was far from over, they had taken the first steps toward understanding and acceptance. Rami knew that balancing two marriages would always be a challenge, but he also knew that with love, patience, and effort, they could build a life where everyone felt valued and cherished. And so, in the little town surrounded by rolling hills, Rami's family began to find their rhythm. A harmony that wasn't perfect, but was undeniably theirs.